Choosing the right lens can make or break your video quality, but with so many options out there, how do you know which one is right for you? Whether you're just getting started or you've been in the game for a while, understanding the difference between photography, anamorphic, cinema, and vintage lenses can feel like navigating a maze. Each type bringing their own unique strengths and challenges, and trust me, making an informed decision can save you a lot of headaches down the road. By the end of this video, you're gonna feel confident about which lenses are worth your investment and which ones might not be the right fit for your specific needs. So let's start with something that often gets overlooked, but is absolutely critical when it comes to picking out the right lens for you, and that is the lens mount. Now, a lens mount might seem like a small technical detail, but it's actually the key to ensuring compatibility between your camera and your lenses. Photography lenses are pretty straightforward in this area. Most manufacturers have their own proprietary mount. Canon has the R mount and the EF mount, Sony has the E mount, and Nikon has the F and Z mount, just to name a few. These mounts are usually designed to work seamlessly right out of the box, which means you get full functionality. You get autofocus, aperture control, image stabilization, you name it. But then we get to anamorphic lenses and things start to get a little bit more specialized. Anamorphic lenses often use PL mounts, which stands for a positive lock. The PL mount is incredibly versatile because it is the standard in the film industry, which means that you can adapt it to work with almost any camera system out there. This is one of the reasons why I'm such a big fan of the PL mount. It's practically future-proof. If you're someone who likes to mix and match cameras and lenses like me, or if you're considering upgrading your camera body down the line, investing in PL lenses can save you a lot of hassle. Furthermore, cinema lenses also tend to favor PL mounts, and for good reason. The PL mount locking mechanism is incredibly secure, which is vital when you're on set and you're swapping lenses quickly or dealing with heavy, complex setups. Now, let's talk vintage lenses. These often require a bit more ingenuity. See, many vintage lenses were designed long before modern digital cameras ever existed, so you'll likely need an adapter of some type in order to make these work with today's cameras. Take my Canon 50mm 1.8 FD lens, for example. This little beauty was made back in the 1970s or 80s, somewhere in that time period, long before Canon's RF mount ever came into existence. But with a $40 purchase from eBay and an $18 Canon FD to RF adapter on Amazon, you've got an amazingly powerful, cheap setup that works great and gives you that classic look. If you're looking for versatility though, especially if you're considering using your lenses across multiple camera systems, the PL mount is definitely the way to go because it can be adapted to almost every camera system. It's like a Swiss Army knife of lens mounts, reliable, adaptable, and ready to go with you as you choose to upgrade throughout your journey. Now, if you have more questions about lens mounts or if there's a specific mount that you're curious about, drop your question down below in the comment section just below the like button. All right, so now let's shift gears a little bit and talk about price and buying options because let's be honest, this is where things get super tricky. Lenses can range from budget-friendly to mortgage-inducing, so it's important to know what you're getting into. Photography lenses are generally more affordable and they offer a wide range of options. For instance, the Canon Nifty 50, the 50mm 1.8 is a prime example of a lens that delivers incredible value at a low price point. You're getting sharpness, decent low light performance, and that beautiful shallow depth of field, all for under 200 bucks. This is the kind of lens that every beginning filmmaker or photographer should definitely have in their kit. Now, anamorphic lenses, on the other hand, are a different beast altogether. These lenses are engineered to create a classic cinematic look with their unique characteristics, lens flares, and oval bokeh with a wide aspect ratio. But all these cool features come at a cost. Traditionally, anamorphic lenses have been pretty expensive, often starting at several $1,000s per lens. However, prices are starting to come down, making them more accessible for indie filmmakers and enthusiasts. Take my Blazar anamorphic set, for example. It includes a 45, 65, and 100mm lens, and the entire set cost me $2,700. Now I get it, $2,700 might still sound like a lot of money, but in the world of anamorphics, that's actually a pretty good deal. You're getting professional level optics that deliver a look that is almost impossible to replicate in software alone. Cinema lenses are where things really start to add up. See, these lenses are designed for high-end filmmaking with features like smooth, precise manual focus, consistent color rendition, and it's always going to be across the entire set with a robust build quality that can withstand the rigorous needs of a professional production. Cinema lenses can easily run you thousands of dollars per lens, but here's the thing. They hold their value. High quality cinema lenses are an investment, and if you take care of them, not only will they serve you well for years and years to come, but they'll also retain their resale value, which is fantastic when it's time to upgrade. That's something that you can't say for most other pieces of gear, which tend to only depreciate over time. And then on the other hand, we have vintage lenses, which are kind of a bit of a wild card. On one hand, they can be incredibly affordable. I found a Helios 58mm vintage lens for around $70 on eBay, which, by the way, is the same lens type that they used to shoot the movie Dune. Now, the lens they used was rehoused for cinema use, but you can still pick up a standard Helios for a fraction of the cost. However, due to their growing popularity, prices of these lenses are starting to creep up. The same Helios lens that I bought for $70 is now going for around $150. So if you're interested in vintage lenses, now might be a good time to grab one before the prices start to go up even higher. Investing in lenses is one of the best investments that you can make as a filmmaker or photographer. High quality lenses hold their value over time, and in many cases, they even appreciate in value. Whether you're buying new or vintage, lenses are one of the rare pieces of gear that are truly worth the money. I've added links down below in the description to some of my favorite lenses and all the lenses I've showcased in this video, so be sure to check those out if you are in the market. These are lenses that I personally use, so I can vouch for them, so you can trust that they're actually worth considering. So now that we've got costs out of the way, let's dive into what really sets these lenses apart, and that's their visual characteristics. This is where the magic happens. This is where the choice of the lens can drastically impact the look and feel of your footage. Photography lenses typically offer sharpness, clarity, and modern color reproduction. They're engineered to deliver a crisp, clean image, which is why they're kind of the go-to standard for portrait photography and videography. However, some might argue that the sharpness can sometimes feel a bit clinical or sterile, especially if you're going for a more cinematic stylized look. Anamorphic lenses, on the other hand, are all about character. They're known for their signature lens flares, which you've probably seen in countless Hollywood movies. Those beautiful elongated streaks of light that appear when a strong light source hits the lens. That's an anamorphic flare. These lenses also produce an oval-shaped bokeh, which gives your out-of-focus areas a unique, dreamy quality. And let's not forget the wide aspect ratio that anamorphic lenses deliver, which instantly gives your footage that epic cinematic feel, you know, what all the kids talk about. The Blazar lenses I mentioned earlier, they nail this look perfectly. The 45, 65, and 100 in my set bring something unique to the table, whether it's the way that they handle light or the sense of depth that they create in the scene. Similar to photography lenses, cinema lenses are designed for precision. They offer high sharpness consistency across focal lengths with a natural color profile that allows for flexibility in post-production. These lenses are engineered to deliver exactly what the director of photography is envisioning with no surprises. What you see through the viewfinder is what you get, which in the world of cinema lenses is exactly what the film industry is looking for. If you're aiming for that polished, professional look, cinema lenses are really hard to beat. The Iris lenses that I was talking about earlier that I used is a perfect example of this. They're razor sharp, robust, and they provide a clean, clinical look. They allow your image to stand on its own, which in the industry is kind of what's needed, so that way you have more room in post in order to dial in the look that you want. Now, vintage lenses, on the other hand, offer a completely different experience. These lenses bring a unique, sometimes even considered softer look to your footage with characteristics that are hard to replicate by most modern lenses. They might have a bit of a flare or some color shifting and even a touch of distortion, especially around the edges. But that's what you get with vintage lenses. It's sort of that vintage lens charm. And again, let's bring back up the Helios 58mm lens. This lens is a legend in its own right, And like I mentioned before, they used it in the movie Dune. And this is a movie known for its stunning visuals. Now, the Helios lens, as I mentioned before, was rehoused to give it a more cinematic build quality, but even in its original form, it's capable of delivering some truly stunning images, and they're getting that from the character of the lens itself. Another great thing about vintage lenses is that they can be rehoused, as I said before, into that cinema lens feel. This process involves taking the original lens elements out and putting them into a new housing that is designed to meet the rigorous needs of professional filmmaking. It's a great way to blend the best of both worlds. You kind of get the vintage character and charm with the more modern usability and robust build. Now, one thing to remember, the look of a lens can be greatly influenced by many factors like lighting, color grading, and post-production sharpening. It's always a good idea to rent a lens and test it out for yourself, so that way, if you actually want to try out that lens and purchase it for yourself, you can see exactly how it works in your own specific setups. Now, functionality is another crucial aspect to consider, especially when it comes to autofocus versus manual focus. Photography lenses are generally built with reliable autofocus systems, making them ideal for situations where speed and precision are key, like event photography and run and gun shooting. The autofocus is more of a modern thing and it's going to be found in more modern photography lenses. And often it's so good that you can pretty much trust that it's going to lock onto your subject quickly and accurately, and even in challenging lighting conditions. This makes them a great choice for those who have more of a fast, sort of like just capture the moment sort of situation, which is awesome because you can be happy knowing that you probably won't miss the shot. Anamorphic lenses, however, and pretty much all the other lenses I'm going to talk about here are manual focus. This means that you have more control over the focus pool, but it also requires more skill and attention to detail. Manual focusing allows you to create that more beautiful, deliberate focus transition that can add a lot of emotion and impact to your shots. It's a bit more work, but the results are often worth it. Cinema lenses are pretty much the exact same way. They're designed with that manual focus in mind, and this nice thing about them is that they typically are also going to be geared and they're going to work great with a follow focus system. This allows for incredibly accurate focus adjustments, which is essential in a professional filmmaking environment where the slightest miss in focus can absolutely ruin a shot. Now, similarly, vintage lenses are almost always going to be manual focus, but they often have a unique focusing mechanics that can be both a joy but also a challenge to use. See, there's something special about that tactical feeling of focusing a vintage lens. It's almost like you are directly connected to the image that you're creating. However, because these lenses were designed in an era before autofocus was even considered, you might find that it requires a bit more effort and patience to be able to properly focus these lenses just right. But oh, because now we are in 2024, this is where technology is starting to change the game. With innovations like the DJI Focus LiDAR system, we're seeing autofocusing being introduced to cinema and anamorphic lenses. And this is sort of a big deal because it brings the convenience of autofocus to a lens system that, otherwise would be difficult for many to be able to adopt. The LiDAR system uses a laser technology to measure distance and accurately focus on your subject, even in low light, complex scenes. This is particularly useful for anamorphic and cinema lenses, which are often used in high pressure situations where there is very little room for error. And this is another reason why, when it comes to having a geared focus system, this is so helpful. It allows the LiDAR system to work seamlessly with the manual focusing mechanisms on the lens, giving you the best of both worlds. Now, I do have a few bonus tips that I want to give you, but quickly, I want to let you know that I do actually have a full free resource over on the Creative Fam Academy. If you're just getting started and you want to dive deeper into the world of lenses, check out my Beginner's Guide to Lenses course. It goes into way more detail about the different lens types, their uses, and how to choose the right one for your needs. And the best part is, as I said before, it is absolutely free. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out down below in the description. All right, so now for some bonus tips for helping you out when you're researching your lenses. First and foremost, don't just rely on a YouTube video to help you make your decision. I know, a little meta. While online reviews and test footage can be incredibly helpful, they don't always tell the whole story. As I said before, the look of a lens can be influenced by many factors like lighting, color grading, and post-production. So what looks great on someone else's video might not look the same in your video. That's why, again, I recommend renting a lens to test it out for yourself before you purchase it. Another piece of advice is if you're ready to invest in a specific brand or type of lens system, staying inside that ecosystem can make a lot of sense for the consistency. For example, if you're shooting on a Canon RF mount camera, sticking with an RF lens can ensure that you're getting the best possible performance in terms of autofocus, stability, and overall image quality. However, if you're open to experimenting, don't be afraid to mix and match it up. I mean, with the right adapter, you can even use lenses from a different system and potentially unlock new creative possibilities that you otherwise wouldn't have even considered. And then learn this tip from my own failure. Finally, you need to compare multiple sources when it comes to testing out a lens. See, each person's setup for shooting may be a little bit different. And so getting a little bit of variety and options is crucial. Not only watch YouTube videos to check out their reviews, but also go actually and talk to filmmakers and photographers who've used the lenses that you're interested in. Again, lenses are a huge investment, but if done right, they can absolutely pay off in the long run. So the more information you have, the better equipped you'll be when it's time to actually make that decision. So I get it. We've covered a whole lot. I mean, we talked about lens mounts, price, visual characteristic, functionality, and of course, some key tips when it comes to actually time to buy the lens that you're looking at. At the end of the day, you have to pick the right lens for you. And I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, give it a huge thumbs up and maybe even consider subscribing because, I'm going to try to create more content just like this. And as always, if you have any questions, of course, you can leave those down below in the comment section. Remember, the best lens is the one that helps you tell your story the right way. Not always the way you want, but the right way. So take your time, do your research, and invest in lenses that will bring your creative vision to life. Thanks so much for checking out this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.